Hello, fabulous people. I'm here today to make a video about everybody's favorite little cutie, Eevee. This might surprise you if you don't know me, but Eevee is actually my least favorite Pokemon. And that's why I'm here today. I'm here to share a very unpopular opinion on a platform that's way better than Twitter. Hello? What? Twitter's called something else now? Yeah, that's how long it's been since I deleted my account and used it. Yeah, okay, bye. Wow. Huh. Anyway, I have a story to tell you, and it's about Eevee. I've been waiting 10 years to make this video, and I am not even kidding. Before I get all dramatic, why don't I reintroduce myself in case you're new? Hey everybody, my name's Lucy, and I love to make video game content, but it's actually been a few years since I made a YouTube video, so this is pretty exciting. My channel's a little over 11 years old, but honestly, if you followed me for any amount of time, you've probably noticed some things about me are different. Yeah, that's right. Just like Eevee, I have evolved. Coming out is weird. No idea how I was gonna talk about being trans to a YouTube audience. So, without intending to, I'm probably gonna make some people upset here, but to be fair, you all upset me first without realizing it. Well, not all of you, just like a few of you. But it's time for me to finally tell this story. It's time to speak my truth. This is why Eevee is my least favorite Pokemon. And confession here, being my least favorite doesn't really mean too much. I think every Pokemon is extremely cool for different reasons, even Eevee, I'll confess, but baby, I'm here to talk about my problems anyway. So for this little Pokemon story time, I'm going to talk about and show some clips from a playthrough that is now 10 years old. Most of my playthroughs are now private, for obvious reasons, except the ones where I used an Eeveelution on my team, ugh, of course. Anyway, the Pokemon playthrough I'm talking about today was my second trip around the Kalos region on the Nintendo 3DS. I had played a Pokemon X Challenge run before on this channel, which was funnily enough my first playthrough on YouTube ever, so for my second Kalos journey, I picked up Pokemon Y and decided to make this one an Egglock, which, to sum it up if you don't know what an Egglock is basically a content creator challenge run where the viewers send the YouTuber unhatched Pokemon eggs and the YouTuber uses the Pokemon that their viewers sent them after they hatch the eggs. It's a very fun way to get a community excited to engage with a playthrough. Using a Pokemon that somebody else gave you is a really special experience, and I suggest anybody who enjoys single-player Pokemon try an Egglock challenge out if you can. Anyway, here's the drama. As a little 5-year-old, my first Pokemon ever in Pokemon Red for the Nintendo Game Boy was Charmander. To this day, Charizard is still in my top 3 favorite Pokemon of all time. My beef with Eevee and why this has to do with Charizard ties into this Pokemon Y Egglock challenge. My starter Pokemon was...
Alright. So this egg hatching stuff is going to take up some time from the episode. Oh, and it's an Eevee! Okay. Well, there's a generic starter. Alright, here we go.
And as the playthrough progressed, 10 viewers total sent me an Eevee. If this is not a Charmander, I'm gonna freak out on somebody. Are you kidding me? I give up. No, I don't want to. At one point during the playthrough, I desperately needed a flying type for my team, so I complained at one point about how I really want a Charizard and I wish somebody sent me one. Especially because this was my first time playing Y, I wanted to try out its other Mega form, but my viewers did not like my appreciation for Charizard at all. Charizard is overrated. I see too much Charizard in too many playthroughs. They'll always find an excuse to put a Charizard in the anime. That's me imitating the comments as I vaguely remember them. But how dare they? How could they say all these things about my beautiful orange baby? How dare you talk shit about my friend? Newsflash, buddy. Umbreon's the main villain Pokemon right now in the anime, and Charizard belongs to one of the main heroes. So if you watch Pokemon Horizons and you're cheering for the good guys, you're on Team Charizard. Okay? I just wanted one person in my comment section to love this Pokemon as much as I do. Don't get me wrong, I was really happy to be using the viewers' Pokemon. That was a very special thing to be able to do a playthrough like this. I am very, very thankful that I have the support of random people on the internet. I'm not dismissing that at all. I just wish that there was one single person in my comment who also liked Charizard the same as me. It was just made worse by the fact that literally 10 people sent me Eevee eggs. I'll always love Charizard because Charmander was my first Pokemon ever, and I honestly love a lot of quote-unquote overrated Pokemon just by nature of being a Gen 1 fan. And honey, if you love Eevee or an Eeveelution is in your top 10 favorites list, you love overrated Pokemon too. There is nothing wrong with that. In the last 10 years, we've seen Eevee get her own game. Right now, there's an Eevee festival going on in Pokemon Unite for the recent release of Vaporeon, and when Pokemon XD and Coliseum got announced for the Nintendo Switch Online service, my friends all said, I can't wait to use Eevee as my starter again. And out of all the Pokemon out there, I think Eevee is actually one of the few Pokemon who's never even been cut from a game. You can capture it in every single main series Pokemon game, but you cannot say the same for Charizard. Since I already know so many of you watching this love Eevee, I wanted to tell you about the Girly Pop Games, where they're doing a series of Eevee extravaganza episodes. The live event is also coming soon, so you should totally go check it out. And when you vibe with their content, which I'm absolutely sure you will, after you catch up with the Eevee extravaganza, go watch the videos of their previous tournament, where I participated as a competitor in their Pokemon Colors of Pride event. My wish never came true, by the way. I never got to use a Charizard in my playthrough, despite desperately wanting and needing a flying type on my team. I did end up using all 8 Eeveelutions, though. I paid attention to those comments, too. The viewers that were ecstatic to see me using so much of their Eevee eggs that I hatched, they were especially happy that I never got to use a Charizard. I will say, my final team ended up being pretty cool, but the Charizard hate resulted in some bitter feelings from me. At least once a week on my Twitch live streams, I would rant about Eevee just because of this playthrough, which was supposed to bring me and my viewers together. Now I'm finally here talking shit 10 years later, right here on YouTube where it all started. And honestly, it feels good to get it off my chest. I'll admit, I'm being kinda petty here, but who doesn't love a good story? Next to Pikachu, Charizard is pretty much just as recognizable. I just don't understand how anybody could ever be unhappy with this thing for any reason. Do you know why it has 2 Mega Evolutions, a Gigantamax form, and Galar's top trainer representing it? Because Charizard is that girl. That's all there is to it. Charizard has 3 special forms. Do you know how many Eevee has? 8. 9 actually. Her Gigantamax form too. And let's not forget all those fun haircuts you can give it in Let's Go Eevee. You have literally more than 10 forms, and your fans still have the nerve to talk bad about my baby Charizard. In all fairness, there are probably a lot of you who just like both of these Pokemon. Most people who like Pokemon tend to like Charizard and Eevee. They both fit very nicely into most teams when there's a spot that needs to be filled. They're both easily obtainable gift Pokemon and starter Pokemon. They're both from the first game in the series, easily available to you, and they're both on Trainer Red's original team in the fight on Mount Silver, so they're both champion tier Pokemon. As a result, they're both kinda overrated. But don't tell Charizard I said that, oh my god. Maybe we should be looking at what connects us and appreciate each other's favorites more, because everybody has a great story behind their favorite Pokemon, even if it is simply just the first one you ever chose. Wow, I just had a major breakthrough. Here's my question to you. If we get a new Eeveelution, what type would it be, and what would you name it? Me personally, I want a ghost type. Name it Spectreon, or Hexion, or just Demon. Just kidding. You know what's crazy? For like 5 years, I was a full-time pet sitter. I tend to love every single Pokemon that reminds me of a dog with my entire heart. The inspiration for this video really just stems from this trend that I've been seeing go on ever since Pokemon X and Y came out, which is that there is a subset of fans that really like to talk bad about my baby Charizard. And I feel like there always will be, and that kind of makes me sad, and for my own personal reasons, I now just associate that with this little four-legged. But, like, whatever, you know, I still think it's cute, but Charmander is just way cuter, and it's not even close, so I just had to talk my shit on YouTube. Anyway, that's my story. Thank you for listening. Take care, everybody. I have absolutely no idea when I'll have time to be back.